Hi, this is Kim Bob, and I'm back for a dispatch. I don't know if I mentioned this, probably did, but I don't remember. I'm an election worker, and yesterday was the first day of early voting here in Austin, Texas. I'm not going to mention the polling site where I'm working, but I knew it was going to be big. And I've never worked a presidential election before. I've worked several over the last few years, which were all very low turnout. Again, I knew that turnout would be big this year, but I was not prepared. I came home yesterday and I was completely wiped out. Came home today, and I was completely wiped out. I had to take my nap was over 2 hours. It's almost 1 o'clock in the morning. I have to be up at 5. I need to go to bed. Having trouble sleeping these days. Guess I'm a little worried about what the outcome will be. I do want to give a few tips and hints about voting early. Get to the polling place as close to 7 as you can. Our wait today, by the time I left at 1 p.m., was probably around an hour. And I just looked it up. We far exceeded the voter turnout record that was set in 2020 on the first day, yesterday, and I can believe it. I will say this, if you're going to request to vote curbside, please don't go in the middle of the day if at all possible. I mean, we want you to vote, but know that when you vote curbside, you're taking away resources from inside, and if there's a really long line, you're just adding the wait time to that line by voting curbside. So go as early as possible to vote curbside. We're more than happy to accommodate you. Just keep in mind that you're taking away resources in the middle of and when it's the middle of the day, that is, I just want to encourage you to be a little more considerate. We had a poll watcher today. He was a young guy. And I didn't get to be privy to any of the conversation that was going on with him and our election judge. I forget the credentials. You have to be certified as a poll watcher. You have to have paperwork, and you have to go to the specific polling place you are assigned to. Something was amiss with this particular poll watcher. He had to go and get something that he didn't have, but I still don't know what that is. I'm hoping to find out in the morning on the third day of early voting. I want to talk about Trump a little bit. I can't be political in the polling place, but I can here. And I just watched part of an episode of The Bulwark, which is a really good podcast by a bunch of never Trumper Republicans. I don't understand why people think Trump is better on the economy. He has mastered the Jedi mind tricks, if he's got people convinced of that, because he shanked the pandemic response, which triggered all this inflation. He was the only president since Herbert Hoover, which nobody knows, but that was the guy who basically triggered the Depression, the president that triggered the Great Depression back in the 1930s. Trump is the only president since Hoover to lose jobs during his presidency because he shanked the pandemic response, because he's a petulant child that threw out all the guidelines and research and work that the Obama administration did. Trump is he's depraved and gross, and I don't understand why people are voting for him. But as an election worker at the polling place, I am not going to say anything. I can't even tell how you vote. That is not on record. The only time there is a record of how you vote is if you vote in a primary, and the record of which ballot you chose, either Democratic or Republican, will be a matter of public record. And that's for Texas. I don't know about other states, how voting records are, when and where they're public. Anyway, yeah, remember, Trump is good at Jedi mind tricks. He's good at tricking people. He's good at conning people. He is shrewd, but he's Looney Tunes. And now even Jake Tapper is bringing up the grossness of him talking about Arnold Palmer and Arnold Palmer's body. That's all I'm going to say, because it's just beyond gross. Weird is too nice. Weird is almost too normal of a word. Trump is gross. He's, and you know, you've heard it all before. But back to the election. Go and vote. Vote early. Don't wait till election day, because you will be in very long lines on election day if you do wait. I suggest getting to the polling place as early as possible. And, in Texas, and again, I don't know about other states, you cannot bring electronic devices into the polling, into the actual area where you vote. And I have to say 99% of the people were very compliant and very polite about it, put their phones away. We had one person who was angry when we told him he couldn't have his phone out. And he said he wanted to take a picture of his vote, but that's not going to prove anything. I don't know if you can go and look at your own ballot after it's certified, after it's counted and certified. I'll have to look that up and I'll let you know. Anyway, my watch is telling me I'm over time. So thanks for watching. Like, comment, support, all of it. I would be eternally grateful. And hopefully I'll come up with some nice little bonuses or gifts for people who do support. Talk at you later. Ciao.